Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placone, the miserable liberal.
I'm miserable.
Howdy, howdy.
Ron off his sold-out tour. How nice was that?
It was a lot of fun.
There you go. Louisville sold out. Asheville sold out.
Yep.
Look at that. All right. We'll see you July 15th in Chicago. Are there still tickets available? Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Just a handful. Portland all the way sold out. Okay, we want to talk about what happened last night. I'm talking about the primary. So there was a lot of everybody saying it's a big deal for progressives. Here's the Washington Post. They're doing video now. Here's what they said about it.
House Democrats had a rather rude awakening on Tuesday night as their number 4 ranking official, Congressman Joe Crowley of New York City, was defeated in a primary by an unheralded opponent named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Crowley's loss was almost instantly tied to House Majority Leader Eric Cantor's loss in a Republican primary in 2014. Cantor's loss was seen as a rebuke of House Republican leadership, of his moderation on issues like immigration, and a sign of a desire for new leadership in the Republican Party.
So they got their new leadership. The people on the right were sick and tired of their leadership, and it was proven by them ousting Eric Cantor. And then they went on to oust the whole goddamn establishment, and they elected Donald Trump as their standard bearer in the primary. So they had a real revolution in the Republican Party. Donald Trump is a signal of that, even though he's not. It's a fake revolution. Yes, he's rude to the establishment, but he's doing even worse policies for working people. So that's the thing. Yeah, it's very cathartic to see Trump, thumb his nose at the establishment, but he's not a rebel. He's an outsider to the party, but he's not fighting for the little guy. He's doing the exact opposite. And guess what's happening in the Democratic Party? Look what happened with Bernie Sanders. So people are sick and tired of their representation in the United States. They're sick and tired of the parties. They're sick and tired of the people who lead their parties. This is what this is a sign of. Now, so it just happened in the Republican Party a little faster because the Democrats had Barack Obama to smooth over it for a little while. And then as soon as he was gone, boom, Bernie Sanders. And people wanted to get rid of the establishment. They had to cheat to keep their power. The establishment had to cheat to keep their power. And then, of course, they couldn't cheat in the general. They lost to Donald Trump. So, yeah, people are hurting in the country, and they want change. They thought they were going to get it with Barack Obama. They did not get it. They still want it, still need it. Let's see what else this report says.
Did Crowley lose because he was a member of Democratic leadership? Did he lose because people are concerned about their leaders being too old or being too moderate? Ocasio-Cortez feeds all of these questions.
How are you feeling?
When they say moderate, I don't think deregulating Wall Street is moderate. I just don't. I don't think voting for ICE is moderate. I don't think making the banks bigger is moderate. I don't think voting for a $715 billion war machine is moderate. I just don't think that stuff is moderate. That's extreme. People don't want that stuff. Right? Am I wrong about this?
I don't think opposing single payer is moderate.
That's not moderate.
There's nothing moderate about that.
No.
It's just... I don't even like to use... I like to refer to a lot of the establishment Democrats as conservatives in denial because that's exactly what they are.
I also like to add to that they're corporate tools.
Yes.
And there's nothing moderate about somebody who's a corporatist. They're a bunch of neoliberals.
Yes.
And they're a part of the establishment that doesn't want to give us health care. They don't want to. They don't want to release people who are in prison over pot.
Right.
They don't want to move this country
That's
forward.
not moderate.
They want to keep us back in the 80s.
They're radicals. I would say I would say we're filled with right-wing radicals in our government and in our Democratic Party. It's radical to deny the majority will on single payer. It's radical to deny the majority on a livable wage in the richest country in the world. That's radical.
And, I want to just add to it, when you have people that are defecting from the Republican Party
Into
to the Democratic Party, you should know right now that the Democratic Party is a conservative now party. I
Yes.
mean, how liberal really are they? What are the Democrats really liberal on?
Right.
No, I mean, and they love to tie a bow on everything, like even bipartisanship. Bipartisanship today doesn't mean they're working together to try to compromise on something that benefits most people or all
Right.
people. Bipartisanship is code for the Republicans have a horrible idea, the Democrats are ready to help them sell it.
Oh, you
Yeah,
know
like-
how I see it?
like
I just see it as bipartisan. They want to fuck you.
Like Wall Street deregulation. Mm-hmm. Like going along with the Pentagon budget.
All bipartisan, quote unquote,
are-
efforts.
That's all bipartisan efforts.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. So there's a little bit more of this. So why they're trying to figure out why he lost. Was it because he was too old? Was it because people want? It's. I don't think it has anything to do with his age. People love Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. I don't think it has anything to do with the age. I think it has to do with the fact that the Democratic Party is actively working against the people it expects to vote for them, and they're starting to realize it. I think that's what it is. Here we go.
Can you put it into words?
Nope. I cannot put this into words. This victory belongs to every single grassroots organizer, every working parent, every mom, every member of the LGBTQ community. Every single person is responsible for this.
We don't know the answer, and we haven't yet seen a string of Democratic incumbents.
We don't know the answer why. That's what he said. We don't know the answer why Joe Crowley lost.
We don't have any guesses.
Well, he just had. Well, he had a couple of guesses. Was it because he's too old? Was it because this? We don't know the answer. Okay, I think we know the answer. I think I just told you what the answer was, but Washington Post last to know.
In primaries, much less a string of Democratic leaders being cast aside by their constituents. But Democratic leaders have to be asking themselves this question in a way they simply weren't 24 hours ago.
So there you go. That's from the Washington Post. And that's Joe Crowley, by the way. He, at his loser party, decided to start jamming, playing music.
Yeah.
How do you play music when you lost?
It's how you cope with it.
I guess so.
That's how you cope with it. He played Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen and dedicated it to Cortez, which I thought that was
Classy?
kind of... I thought that was classy, and
It
I
was.
thought it was like, that's especially, chances are that's a guy who wouldn't have voted for you.
Yeah.
So that's like, I told him, I was like, hey, in your honor, if I ever run for office and lose, I'm going to play a Ted Nugent song and dedicate it to my opponent.
I wonder why. So, well, here's some more from Slate. They say progressives won big on Tuesday at last. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party finally showed its electoral strength on Tuesday night, notching a few no doubt about it electoral wins and a handful of key primaries after months of mostly moral victories. In New York, there's the one we talked about. Crowley was considered a frontrunner to someday replace Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. But he was also ill-suited to a diverse district that includes a swath of working-class Queens and the Bronx. Yeah, I would say he was ill-suited. Ocasio-Cortez, she's a 28-year-old Latina, staked out a far more progressive policy positions than Crowley, argued powerful Democrats in safe seats like his needed to be doing more to pull the party to the left. Primary voters agreed. Ocasio-Cortez won by a whopping 15 percentage points, making Crowley the first Democratic incumbent to lose a primary this year and the highest-ranking lawmaker from either party to fall in a primary since House GOP leader Eric Cantor lost to Dave Bratt in Virginia 4 years ago. So he's the first Democrat incumbent to lose a primary this year. The first.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that doesn't sound like the progressives are taking over the party. To me, it sounds like we got this win here, we got that win there, we got a mayor over here, we got a governor over here, we got a congressperson here. People definitely want change, but it's much harder to make this kind of change that she did. Like, that's a big deal that she did that.
It really is. And do we have a long way to go? Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. But, yeah, this is a nice victory and gave us all something to smile about last night. I mean, she came in here, and this is not, even though Crowley, there are way worse corporate Democrats than him, way worse.
Yes.
But nonetheless, he's also very much a figure of the establishment. They wanted this guy to go on and replace Pelosi.
Yeah.
He hasn't been challenged in years and years, and Here comes this 28-year-old DSA member and picked
you know
him off.
And you know why Crowley was fourth in line, is the fourth most powerful Democrat in the House, and they said he was in line to take over for Pelosi. Do you know why they said he was in line to take over Pelosi? Because you know how you get to take over for Pelosi? The other congressional Democrats vote to see who they want to be their leader. And why do they vote for Nancy Pelosi? Because Nancy Pelosi gets the most corporate cash, and then she gives it to them. And then they vote for her because she's giving them money. So the donors give Nancy money. Nancy give the other Congress people money. They vote for Nancy. You see how it keeps, and it keeps going. She goes back. I did my job. They go, boom, boom.
That's another fun fact to throw in there, too. He outspent her about 17-1, and she beat him.
I didn't know that. I didn't know how much he outspent her. But Joe Crowley's next in line, or was number 4 in line. It goes Pelosi, Steny Hoyer. Who's the third person? And then him. Find out who the third person. But anyway, do you know why he was next in line? Or people were saying he was next in line to replace Nancy Pelosi? Because he gets the most money from corporations and Wall Street, and then he gives it out. He never had to run in a primary before. So he had all this cash laying around that he would get, and he would give it out to everybody. And that's why he's a leader. That's why he's Joe Crowley, who it's obvious that guy isn't an actual leader. He's not someone who you would follow into battle, or he has bright ideas on how to fix stuff. The reason why Joe Crowley is called a leader is because he gets the most money from the donors, and then he gives it out to the other Congress people so they can go buy commercials and they can still keep their power. So then they vote for him because he's their money train. See how that works? Same thing with Nancy Pelosi. So everybody's getting money from Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, and this Crowley to go run in their own districts. So then they vote for them for leader. That's how it works. It's got nothing to do with actually being a leader. It's got nothing to do with actually being the best person for the job or the person with the best ideas. What does it have to do with? It has to do with who gets the most money. So going on, there was more races. Dana Balter, a public policy professor at Syracuse University, defeated Juanita Perez Williams, a Navy veteran, with the backing of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, the DCCC, in central New York. So there you go. That's a progressive beating a centrist Democrat, someone from the Navy. I mean, I'm all for veterans. I love the veterans and what have you. But Doug Applegate seemed to be pretty progressive. But I think you run a risk of having too many. And it seems like every person that the DCCC was choosing was either a prosecutor or a former military person or, you know what I mean? Let's get some real far out there. Anyway, so Dan Belter, look at that, a public policy professor, beat the Navy veteran. So that had the backing of the DCCC. That makes me feel good. Williams becomes only the second DCCC-backed non-incumbent to lose this year. So listen to that, Ron. This goes back to my other point. Williams becomes only the second DCCC-backed non-incumbent to lose. So DCCC-backed non-incumbents have won, except for twice. And the first incumbent to ever lose is this guy Crowley. So I don't mean to poo-poo this fun progressive win night, but...
No, it's important to keep it in perspective,
Yeah.
but we haven't had a lot to smile about recently, so it's nice to have something.
I'm just saying that I'm making a big push for a third party.
I'm with you.
And
no, I'm with you.
What I'm trying to point out is that this is nice. I'm for progressives no matter where they are, if they're in the Republican Party, if they're in the Democratic Party, if they're in the Green Party or the DSA or the SA or wherever. Peace and Freedom Party. I voted for a lot of Peace and Freedom parties this year. So I'm for progressives no matter where they are. I think the Democratic Party, this actually helps the party because it gets people interested, progressives interested in the party again. That I don't think right now, I mean, I get California's, again, I know I said this a million times, sending Nancy Pelosi won by a huge margin.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi. They just killed net neutrality here in California, the Democrats. Dianne Feinstein. So it looks like it's going to be. She has a great chance to go back. So again,
it's not like tonight means that Dem entering is the only way to go now, and we figured it out. Like it's not like that's the lesson to take away from last night. And yeah, you can't help but wonder, because I too think we need an entire brand new party, because to really overhaul and gut the Democratic Party, you need to get rid of superdelegates. You need to get rid of money in politics. There's all these hurdles to overcome.
Yes.
And you think, gee, that's pretty hard. Starting a new party is also very hard, but man, that might be energy better spent than trying to fix this structure that has no interest in being fixed.
The only the second DCCC backed non-incumbent to lose this year. Crowley's the first DCCC backed incumbent to lose this year. So this is the first second non-incumbent. So go ahead, Seth. I'm sorry.
Well, my question is the DCCC going to now support these candidates?
Well, they're supposed to.
But what's the likelihood that they're going to?
Well, the likelihood that Ocasio-Cortez needs their help is very little now, because the big hurdle was the primary, and she's going to win in the general. So it's like a gimme, right? There's no real opposition. So, but you're right. Your point taken. Now, if these progressives win in the primary, after they beat a DCCC backed candidate, how much are they going to work for them? Right? That's a big question. I don't know. We'll see. So let's go under. So Williams becomes only the second DCCC candidate-backed non-incumbent to lose this year, following former Blue Dog Congressman Brad Ashford's upset loss to progressive Kara Eastman in Nebraska last month. Oh, we all know about that one. Progressives were also celebrating in Maryland, where former NAACP President Ben Jealous won the Democratic nomination on Tuesday. I really like that guy, Ben Jealous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is another reason to smile.
I really like that guy. Ben Jealous is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't seem like a compromiser or a guy who can be compromised. He doesn't seem that way. You know, everyone's human being, whatever. But he seems like the real deal. I like that guy. He ran an aggressively progressive campaign, including calls for Medicare for all and a $15 minimum wage. And he had the backing of the likes of Senator Sanders and Kamala Harris. Why would Kamala Harris back him?
Because she wants to be in good company.
That's right
now. That's the only reason she's lending her name is so, look, I'm with Sanders. Look, I'm with Ben Jealous. Forget it.
This is her head fake to the left. That's what this is. This is her head fake to the left.
You know what? I'm so sorry. I just want to say one more thing. In the meantime, she's going around and supporting other candidates, right? What is she doing right here for Californians?
Nothing. You tell me what is her big legislative push right now? What are her big ideas to help relieve the homeless population or get housing costs down or provide nothing? What are her ideas? You tell me. I don't know. So Colorado, now we'll move to Colorado. Colorado's Democratic primary for governor flew a little further under the radar, but Representative Sheriff Polis emerged as the crowded field on Tuesday thanks to his own fortune and a progressive policy platform that included calls for all-day preschool and a single-payer healthcare system for the state. So there's a rich guy who's progressive like FDR, right? It says thanks to his own fortune. I wonder how did he make his money, Jared Polis? Selling anyway, the Democratic establishment still got most of the candidates it wanted on Tuesday. Again, I don't want to be a wah. But the establishment still won. The Democratic establishment still got most of the candidates it wanted on Tuesday. A pair of DCCC-backed military vets won contested primaries over more progressive candidates. On Staten Island, Max Rose coasted to a victory in a six-way race. And in central Colorado, Jason Crow defeated Levi Tillerman. Now, you remember who they are. Levi Tillerman was the guy who recorded Steny Hoyer, who's the number 2 Democrat in the House, telling him that he shouldn't run and a decision has been made.
We made a video about it. We all did our best Godfather impressions. That's right. You need to revisit it.
Yes. So go watch that video. But that's who that was. So the progressive, it won. It worked for them. So the DCCC put their finger on the scale for the corporatist, and the corporatist won over the progressive, even though the progressive caught him on tape admitting that they were cheating and making a pre-decision before the voters got a chance. And Hoyer were urging Tillerman to get out of the race for the good of the party. Oh, how big? How did you know what? Can you look up how big of a loss that was? Like, what was the gap between Crow and Tillerman, or Tilleman, not Tiller, Tilleman, Tillemann, 2 N's at the end. That second N is for savings. Polis isn't this, but this guy Polis in Colorado isn't this. This is from HuffPo. They say he isn't the staunchest of progressives. He's a former internet entrepreneur, so that's how he made his money on the intranet. The internet entrepreneur and one of the wealthiest members of Congress. Oh, I didn't know that. He's one of the wealthiest members of Congress. He's a member of both the Congressional Progressive Caucus and the center-left New Democrat Coalition. How could you... Those two... Well, it says 2 groups that often find themselves clashing. Those two seems to be at cross purposes. But anyway... But Polis, who won Colorado's Democratic gubernatorial nomination on Tuesday night, and he will be the first gay man ever elected to a governorship if he beats Republican Walker Stapleton in the fall. And he also ran on a platform to the left of his Democratic predecessor, the term-limited Governor John Hickenlooper. John Hickenlooper, I thought he was going to be a super progressive. He wasn't. He was in bed with the fossil fuels, and it turned out not good. Polis campaigned, but he campaigned super progressive. He campaigned on a state-level Medicare for All plan and promised to move the state to 100% renewable energy by 2040 and fully fund all-day kindergarten. Wow. He's the favorite to win in November. All right. So they can have state-level Medicare for All in Colorado, but in California, the 5th largest economy in the world, Democrats stop it. We can't have it. They can have it in Colorado, but in the 5th largest economy in the world, we're still out of reach.
They can also have municipal internet in
Colorado.
In Colorado and Longmont, but and in Fort Collins. But somehow, Pasadena can't do that. Santa Monica can't pull it off.
Can't pull that off.
Somehow,
L.A.,
can't pull
Los
that off.
Angeles.
Only Beverly Hills can. Nowhere else.
Beverly Hills did it.
Yeah, they're doing it, but nobody else can.
Gosh, I wonder why
Nobody
Beverly
else.
Hills was able to do it.
Well, they do have money. I mean, that is true. But.
Yeah. All right, so there it is. That's our roundup. It looks on the surface, it looks like something for progressives to cheer.
It's something. It's not nothing.
I know it's not nothing.
Reason to smile, but still a long way to go.
These are not meaningful changes. This is not a meaningful change. Really? So the DCCC, of all the candidates they ran, they lose 3? So only the second non-incumbent backed by the DCCC that lost?
Well, it's more than 0.
Not good.
You got to keep a little optimism.
Nancy Pelosi is the leader in the House as she has embraced PAYGO. That means there's no progressive policies happening.
It's true.
So it's just, the party is just, again, they will spend millions of billions, all their money to make sure progressives don't take over the party. Just so you know. And they'll cheat you. They cheated us on the state level. In California. We can't even take over the party in California. So, again, I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer, but, I mean, it's good for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And that's good for the country. It's good for the people in New York. It's good. We need a revolution, though. We need a real revolution. Things are bad.
Oh, and Crow and Tillman wasn't close, by the way.
Wasn't even
close?
close?
It was about 67%.
So maybe Tillman didn't run a good campaign, maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't all that close.
Maybe he's not the most charismatic fella. Who knows? Maybe he is. I don't know.
And I think that third in line you're thinking of is Jim Clyburn.
Oh, James Clyburn.
James Clyburn, yes.
Yes. Okay. That is. Okay, that's him. All right, there you go. Enjoy your Democratic victories. Hey, please make sure you subscribed. Even if you think you are, you probably are. It only takes a second to check. And then click that bell to make sure you get a notice every time we drop a video. They won't tell you every time anyway, but it's the only thing we can do to fight back against the bastards. So please make sure you're subscribed and click that bell. And our next live show is July 15th in Chicago. And after that, July 27th in Burbank, California. Special guest on that show, Abby Martin. And if you could become a patron, that would be fantastic. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Thanks for your support.